The Meditations of Marcus Aurelius, one of the most read books in history. Yet Marcus never meant for you to read it. Today we cut past the surface. The Meditations was never written for publication. It was a private journal. Marcus Aurelius wrote it to himself at night in a tent on the frontier, while commanding legions against Germanic tribes, while plague ravaged the empire, while court intrigues circled like wolves. He had absolute power over the known world, and he used that power first to discipline himself when no one else could hold him accountable. Everything we quote as timeless wisdom was one man failing and correcting himself in private. Real discipline is not the version you perform for an audience. It is the version you would still practice if no one would ever see it. Picture this: the Emperor of Rome, not in a palace, not surrounded by flatterers, but in a military camp, cold, exhausted, his body already breaking down. He writes not for legacy, not for philosophers to admire centuries later. He writes because he must argue with his own mind. He lists his faults, his moments of anger, his fears, his attachments to things outside his control. Then he dismantles them one by one. You have power over your mind, not outside events. That was not a motivational line for the masses. It was a private command to himself when the weight of empire threatened to crush his soul. Marcus did not pretend to be above human weakness. He confronted it nightly, in the dark, alone. This is Stoicism in its purest form, raw, unpolished, a man building the fortress within while the world burned around him. Here is the deeper cut. The most dangerous lie modern man tells himself is that virtue performed for an audience is the same as virtue practiced in private. Marcus had the entire Roman world watching him. Statues, coins, triumphs. Yet every night he still sat down and held himself to a higher standard. No excuses, no performance. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. He reminded himself of this truth while burying his own children, while facing betrayal from those closest to power, while his health failed. Discipline is not punishment. It is the price of freedom. Freedom from fear, freedom from desire, freedom from the opinions of men. No emperor could grant him that freedom from the outside. He had to forge it within. Catholic tradition carries the same thread. The silent examination of conscience, the accounting before something higher than yourself. Marcus did it before the gods and before his own reason. Machiavellian realism agrees. Know the world as it is, then master yourself so it cannot master you. So what does this mean for you in the present? Stop performing Stoicism. Start practicing it. Your morning routine when the alarm sounds and the room is cold. Your training when no one is watching. Your reading, your temper in traffic. Your decisions when money or status tempt you. Do them as if the tent is still pitched on the Danube. As if no one will ever praise you. As if only you and your mind are keeping score. That is where real strength is forged, not in the quotes you share. In the quiet corrections you make when no eyes are on you. The sun rises unconquered. So must we. Even when the battle is invisible, Marcus did not need followers. He needed to become the standard for himself first, in the dark, on the frontier. You do not need to broadcast your discipline to the world. You need to live it when the lights are off and the tent flap is closed. That is the work that lasts. That is what turns a man into something Rome would recognize.